Hello and welcome back once again to Rage Gaming and of course more World Long. Today I have an important topic to discuss, my top 5 picks for weapons in general with the current state of the game. We have some good suggestions for your first playthrough or even early game, insane late game options to lead you strongly into New Game Plus, and at that, a nice variety of weapon types. Of course there's going to be more than just 5 weapons, they're going to be great picks in World Long, but here are my 5 that I want to highlight and suggest to you first. Our first pick for best weapons then is easily the chivalrous swordsman dual swords. These things from the get-go are extremely strong and effective, thanks to their incredible base moveset being so quick and consistent with its attacks, while having a fantastic follow-up spirit that's a major gap closer. Yeah, the base moveset of this weapon is good. Things like that help you stick to the target and are always particularly useful against fighting agile enemies, and certainly helpful as a newer player, who's learning the basics of the game. Fortunately though, these weapons are available super early in a playthrough, and as you upgrade them, the scaling becomes really good. It becomes A+ water scaling, increasing your damage while providing the rare utility of water virtue actually being relevant, and then A- on fire though, so you can mix and match while improving the spirit of your martial arts at that. Unlike the other weapons on this list though, it doesn't have a unique martial art, but a wide selection of options you might get on any dual swords like this. Of that selection, there's many great options, but I think something that deals a lot of quick hits or something that helps keep you on target is probably going to be the best thing. Still, variety is nice to have and it's up to you. These weapons work really well with any weapon buff though, since you are dealing many hits in a short time, helping you consistently build up status on a target really quickly. Further, these weapons come with an important unique passive, where you get extra damage when you have light equip load, where you actually get a massive damage boost from that. So a build that's light and agile and highly damaging seems the best for this weapon type, making yourself sort of a glass cannon that really scales the damage through that. So like I said, I think this is a good first playthrough weapon, getting it early, scaling it early, and letting you run light armor for it as well. To get yourself your own pair then, you just need to complete the mission, an early game one, Demon Fort of Yellow Heaven, which you can just keep completing to try to get a better version if you don't get a drop you like. The weapon also drops from a variety of other main missions pretty early on. So overall, I think it's a great first playthrough pick or an early game weapon to lead you into the later game. Next on the list though is what I think will be obvious to anyone paying attention to like the current meta of builds. The Gooding Blade is ridiculous. With its own unique martial art, the Thunderous Impact, you basically charge through enemies or lock directly onto one, even evading critical attacks while you do it. The attack deals many short ticks of damage followed by one final big strike. So it's an incredible gap closer and option, but I think the true strength here is in its spirit damage. The attack deals such a considerable amount that you can reliably use it to break spirit consistently. Often, even just 2 uses of this thing has the enemy staggered, allowing for obviously a fatal strike follow-up. Mix that with a suitable build that enhances your martial art damage, buffs the weapon, manages your spirit, and further debuffs the enemy to make it all hit mega hard. Well, that's one of the strongest options we have in the game, without a doubt. It absolutely crushes human enemies who seem to have more vulnerability to the spirit martial art aspect of this, but it works well against demons all the same. We have a full build video on the channel right now that I made for this, if you want to see how to, truly make the most of this crazy weapon. Not only is the martial art great, but it is a curved saber, which does have a nice moveset and feel, and as a weapon it scales with metal best, closely followed by fire. This allows you to go hard into, say, wizardry options, which we suggest in my build, to maximize your weapon and self buffs, as well as the important enemy debuffs, or you could lean less into maximizing damage and lean into fire virtue, allowing you to blindly rely on the martial art, dealing less damage, but getting much more use of the martial art itself. Either way, to get your hands on this one, you'll need max companionship with Sung Jian, who simply gives it to you when you reach this. Again though, be sure to check out the full build video on this weapon and the build to go with it to make the most of the weapon. Moving on though, we have now the Drought Demon Blade. It's an incredible option just in concept. Again, it's a curved saber, which is one of my favorite weapon types as I've mentioned, and this is one that has very good fire scaling at that, A-, meaning the more you level fire, the more damage your weapon's going to deal, while also making your martial arts cheaper and more spirit efficient to use. The martial art in question here is a unique one called Shimmering Sun, which is a very cool art, having you swing and strike with the blade, but if you use it when you have any positive spirit, it'll automatically buff up the weapon with fire, meaning you don't need to worry about buffing your weapon using wizardry and wasting time and spirit on that, freeing up a wizardry spot in your build you could use. Plus, again, curved saber, so one of my favorite simple effective combos with this is a couple of lights followed by a spirit attack, which will perform this kind of gap closing front flip slam. That deals good damage, good spirit damage, and keeps you on target. And if your weapon is buffed up with a fire at the time, it actually really hurts and you can just do it loads back to back. I like to use the martial art then to maintain the fire buff and then go ham on the target while that fire buff is active. It's nice to have a weapon buff that also deals damage at the same time while you buff up. To get yourself your own drought Demon Blade, you need to get the drop during the mission, the Assault on Wu Chao. So if this playstyle interests you, I think this is a weapon well worth looking into. Our fourth weapon suggestion though has to be the Golden Staff of King Yufu. If you're hoping to focus your gameplay all around wizardry, staffs, and this staff in particular, is probably going to be key. The fact is, wizardry only builds isn't really a thing in this game. A mix of wizardry and martial arts and weapon usage, otherwise, that seems to be best. However, making wizardry your main damage focus, using your spirit on that instead of, say, martial arts, that's viable, and with this weapon is a strong way to play. This comes down to its unique passive, which provides a constant 4% damage increase on all wizardry spell damage. That's incredible, especially when paired with a suitable build, to make that all more effective and manageable and efficient. As a weapon, the staff moveset is solid, letting you deal damage at reasonable range, while also having great combos that kind of stick you and move you towards the target, which is useful. So dropping constant offensive wizardry with this increased damage, managing your debuffs on the enemy and self buffs around that, punishing the staggers with fatal strikes where possible. This is the way that this works, and it works really well. Interestingly though, this weapon doesn't have a unique martial art like you might expect it to, but considering, we're trying to use our spirit on wizardry and not martial arts, it's fine. And the weapon scales really well with wood, allowing for lots of health in the build using this weapon, while increasing its damage. Certainly nice if we are using light armor to enhance our wizardry, so a nice combination there. But yeah, this seems a top pick for wizardry focused builds, so it has to be on the list. Last but not least then, a fantastic option for many hits in a short period is definitely the Tiger Fang. This weapon type already attacks very quickly in short succession, but it's the weapon's unique martial art that kind of seals the deal. Thorn Cleave will swing your weapon many times until it eventually ends in a sort of final double swing. The thing is, you can actually channel and hold this one down, causing it to last much longer, dealing tons of hits over a short period of time, and especially effective if you can get someone against a wall, so you just got them stuck and you're just going on them. This just goes until you're completely out of spirit, which will leave you, a bit exposed, but if you're able to catch someone out and get all these hits on them, it works super well. Combine that with, say, a basic weapon buff in the build, and anything that benefits from, successive hits, and the DPS will skyrocket when using Thorn Cleave effectively. The weapon scales at an A rating with Fire Virtue, so that's perfect for this concept, since we just really want to use Wizardry Spirit to buff the weapon, and mostly that's it, and then focus all our spirit into the martial art spam and channeling it and holding it as long as possible where we can. Maximizing Fire Virtue is of course going to help with that to make all of that cheaper. Also, the basic moveset of the weapon isn't bad either. You thrust forward massively when doing a light attack combo and interrupting it with a spirit attack, and that can be pretty important with this weapon type, as you can find yourself kind of standing and swinging and missing attacks if enemies make even small movements just out of your range. So making use of the gap closing spirit attack during a basic combo, that's important. Overall, this weapon combined with its martial art is essentially an instant status procer, shredding spirit and health all at once, kind of like a chainsaw build. To get the Tiger Fang Jewel Halberds, you'll need to complete the side quest, Like Father, Like Son, for a drop, but you can also then reach Swan Brother with Sun Z as well for a strong reward version. But there you have it. Those are my current top 5 suggestions for incredible weapons in Wo Long. Of course, we can enhance these in various ways further with different builds, but all of these should make for the basis of great potential. As I said at the start though, there's still going to be other great weapons in Wo Long to consider. These are just 5 that I think are worth talking about. If you have any other good suggestions though, you can be sure to drop it in the comments. We might come back for another video on this topic. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching, see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.